Good evening. Good evening. Had a bit of trouble at first trying to connect. Then I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, no way. I know it's always tense times for me. I'm always like, will they connect? Will it work?
First it went blank, and I thought, is it my phone? I thought, I've got no service here. I thought, please work, please work.
How are you?
Yeah, good, all good. Back home, just obviously like everyone, isolation. Just trying to do my training day by day, and just getting by. But hopefully now we're coming to the end of this crisis, and everyone's starting to pick back up, and we can get back to it where we left off.
So what kind of setup have you got at home? Have you got a bag, or are we just kind of doing a
To
lot of body
be
weight
honest,
stuff? Or...
I'm very old school. To be honest, I haven't got no bag. I'm like more like Rocky style, doing a bit of a circuit and a bit of shadow boxing. So all we can do, I've got my brother sometimes who can do the pads with me now and then, and that's about it. Obviously, I train with Tyson, but obviously with the isolation, we've never been allowed to see each other, and we haven't been going to the gyms. But I think from next week or so, we'll get back boxing and we start to pick back up. So. The main thing is my weight's good and I'm healthy and I'm still good in good shape. So that's the main thing.
That's good. That's good to hear. Because obviously, like I mean, for the hardcore boxing fans, they'll know who you are. But this year was kind of a big year for you in terms of being on the Tyson, the Fury Wilder undercards. That a lot of the newer fans got to know who Isaac Lowe was and to learn all about you. So I think for a lot of the boxing community, it was like this is your year, as in like you were in a really good
Yeah, I thought it was
opportunity.
myself. To be honest, obviously having a good start in February, I thought a good win on the Wilder Fury undercard will get me face out there and then I got mandatory for the EU European title, which was planning to do that. I was speaking to MTK, was going to purse bids and was meant to do that end of April. So then was planned to obviously have that, win that, or touch wood with no injuries. And then was planning to have the Wilder rematch in July with Tyson, get back on there. So I was expecting maybe 4 or 5 fights, and by coming into October, November, maybe I could have been creeping in for a world title shot or a final eliminator. But obviously things have happened for a reason, and it's not just me being pushed back; it's everyone's in the same boat. You know what I mean? So it's the main part is for me, as long as I've kept myself fit and healthy through this crisis, and I've kept my weight under control. When I get the green light to go, then I'll be ready to go.
Is it a little bit more confident for you because you know that these things have been lined up and it's just a matter of when we're back to normal now, they're coming?
Yeah, obviously, like I said, I'm in a good position. I'm ranked number 7 with the WBC and number 13 with the IBF. I've got the EU European title mandatory for, so I'm just waiting. That obviously that'll go back to purse bids. So I'm in a good. I've got obviously I know I've got fights there waiting for me to happen. Do you know what I mean? Obviously I've got to defend my WBC belt again. But obviously the main part was for me, as for every boxer, through this crisis when no one knowed when they was fighting again, is not to go on. I'll have a bit of cake, or I'll have a bit of this, I'll have a few drinks out with my friends. And it was alright having or the odd weekend or the odd night out and having a bit of food, but it was making sure I kept myself right and kept my feet on the ground, and I have. So I'm just hopefully now. I said the next few weeks we get the green lights when the boxing shows are back on the go, and then we can start sorting things out then.
I mean, you're in a very exciting position, as we're saying, with all these things that are in the pipeline for you. But also, we can't look past, what you've achieved to date. I mean, multiple titles and, a career that most boxers could only aspire for, and you're not done yet. So how has it been? How has the climb or the journey been for you?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster to be fair, because I think I've named enough box for every belt without
Mm,
instead of a world inside of a world title. If it
yeah.
sounds crazy, and I've only obviously I've boxed for English, British, European. Obviously I've got another EU coming up. I boxed for WBC International. I boxed for nearly for every title. Do you know what I mean? Except for a world title itself. So to know, and I've been on the stages what I've been on. I've been on like the Quick Framptons. I've been on the Tyson undercards. I've been on a few big bills and fighting all over the world, and I've took it in my stride. So yeah, when I get the opportunity of some big occasion for myself now, it's another day in the office, and when I get hopefully my own world title very soon, it'll be good. But yeah, I've had highs and lows because I think I turned pro when I was 18.
Mm.
I had like a very good start. I think I stopped 4 my first 6, and everyone was like talking about me a bit. And then I boxed for the English in my 10th fight. I won that, and then I went straight in to defend it against Ryan Doyle, which at the time I was only young. He's a tough opponent at the time. I think he only lost 1. That was a draw. That was a good fight, but I should have won that one. But as I said, young, it's all learning experience. And then I think I boxed for the Commonwealth for my 13th fight against again. I was underdog for that fight. Everyone's thought I should have got beat against Marco McCulloch. I went there. That was one of my best boxing displays. Outboxing and took him apart. Do you know what I mean? And stopped him. And then I think in my 15th fight, I didn't even get a defence of that because I was meant to box Sammy Munyai or someone like that, South African. He got refused a visa, and then I ended up getting stripped of it for some reason. And then I got the European chance against Dennis Sealand, and again went over there to be they thought I was going to get beat. I was only a voluntary for that fight, and I still think to this day, if that fight would have went on, I would have stopped Dennis Sealand. I got into his head that I was coming into the fight, and it was a cut. And I can't disagree. It was a bad cut. It was a bad cut. But I got promised the rematch, and it was going to happen. This was going to happen. I'm still waiting now. So I've been unfortunate in some little things. Again with the British title, and then I boxed 2 fights later. I boxed Ryan Welsh. Again, you can say I was really underdog for that fight.
Yeah.
Then I only had 6-week training. No fault of me on, by the way. I only had 6-week training for that because it was Christmas, and I got a little bit fat over Christmas, and I really went into training a bit late. But again, I pulled out the bag my first 12-round fights, and no one think I could handle the power of Ryan Welsh, or I could stick the rounds with him. And I showed that night, and I think 90% or 95% of the public know think I won that fight. And then we finally did get the rematch. We did get Mantry again. I did have the opportunity to fight him again for that. But then I cropped up the opportunity to go with Tyson over to LA and fight for the WBC title. And then it was a hard decision for me because I've always wanted to win a British title. That's what I set off to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get the chance to go and fight in LA in front of go overseas where so many greats fight and fight for a WBC international title and fighting on such a wonderful card. Well, it was the biggest fight in heavyweight history, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So to go on and do that, and then again bounce back to go to Vegas, where it's where dreams are made of, innit? From any young kid from 10-year-old watching the fights, I used to watch like Ricky Hatton and all the rest of them go over there and think of one day if I can only box there, and I've done it. So yeah, it's been a crazy, and I'm only 25, and there's still a lot more left. So
I know you're so young. You're so young. You're talking like an old man there.
Yeah. Been everywhere, and I'm only still young yet. So yeah, still a lot more years of me yet, and the best is still to come.
But you know, the talking or hearing you talk about, you know, obviously all roads leading to you know, finishing up where we saw you last, obviously the Wilder Fury undercards, but like you're saying there about growing up and watching Ricky Hatton and watching all the guys that you aspire to be like doing that, and then you finally get there, right? Okay, you might not be main event, but you get to experience the fight cards, the weeks. Is it as you expected?
Yeah, the first time, the first was at Tom Schwartz, Tyson Fox on Vegas Fest. Yeah, it was Tom Schwartz. We got there, like you walk into the MGM, and I've never been to Vegas in my life back before this. Do you know what I mean? Never been there. Didn't have a clue what it was like. Do you know what I mean? Only what you see when the big fights was on. I got there and you walk in, like all the press meeting. Like I can remember going into the press lodge for the undercard, and generally I bet there was like 600 or 700 like press just for the undercard. I thought, wow, never mind the main event. This is like stunning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
About 5, so many different countries want to do an interview, and you're just taking it all in. And then, like, night of the fight, you go into the change rooms and you walk down the corridors, and like there'd be Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, all these great singers what's been there and sung there, and all these Mike Tyson on the wall, and you're thinking, wow, like I'm here, like, do you know what I mean? It takes it, and like over here, you see over there with all the officials with the red suit jackets on, and you think like, wow, this is it, this is really it now. If I'm gonna do it now, this is the time to shine, baby. And yes, I did.
Absolutely. But because I mean, these are times that you can't prepare for. Do you know what I mean? Like when you get to those stages, do you get a moment where you kind of have to sit with yourself, maybe before the fight or you know, fight week, and say, right, okay, and just kind of like talk yourself through what you're going to experience? Because I imagine it could be a bit overwhelming. Like,
of course, and there's so many boxers done that. Do you know what I mean? So many boxers got to the big occasion. They worked their butt off all their life to get where they need to be, and then it's just the fact of fighting in Vegas, or it's the MGM. Do you know what I mean? It's this. It's name itself just speaks. So many greats have boxed there.
Yeah.
And seeing all the fans there and all the press, it can get to you. And listen, sometimes you have to sit back a little bit and just think like, hold on for a minute. I've got a job on here. Even much I want to take it all in me head and I want to enjoy it all, you still got to keep your focus on the fight. You've got to fight head. And that's what I do. As much as trying to enjoy it, I just keep myself laying back, go back and do my weigh in, go back straight to the hotel where I need to be. I keep away from everyone, because if you start going around and you're seeing all the fans and you get hyped up with emotion and you get yourself, you lose your mind from what you've got, your job ahead. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You lose your concentration. So it's very important. And even though they're great occasions and they're great for the fans, and it's lovely to be everyone to be over there supporting you, you've just got to lean back a little bit and just take it in and just think, I've still got a job to do.
Do you feel like when you experience those moments, do you feel like you're meant to be there?
Yeah, listen, when you've worked from a kid from 8 year old and you've trained your whole life going through the amateur stage and going through, and as I said, winning, starting off with an English title and working yourself. I can remember when I had my first fight under Steve Woods, and it was at Blackpool Winter Garden. I think there was like 250 people. It could have been less there. Do you know what I mean? It's like watching boxing and going around trying to sell tickets to my mates and trying to fellas, come on, watch me. You need to support me, and trying to sell your tickets, trying to get everyone. And all of a sudden, you went from there to Las Vegas. It's like, wow, do you know what I mean? So yeah, you've got to enjoy it all, but also you've got to make sure one defeat can change it all. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to make sure you keep going.
Absolutely. And I mean, in this game, or in the boxing game, there's so many talented or skilled fighters that are out there, but it's a very, very small percentage that make it to your
Yeah,
level, to
then.
Tyson's level. What do you think, or in your opinion, what separates those guys from the guys that are making it to the big stages?
Listen, the thing what separates is keeping focused and keeping dedicated. Do you know what I mean? If you want something so much, and I think 90% of the boxers are the same, you work hard and you've got that in your mind and you want it so. But as long as you can give it everything you've got and give your best, and if your best can only take you to a certain best, but if you achieve what you know you can only achieve and you've got so far, then that's fair enough. You know what you've got in your tank. But if you're going out and you're slacking and you're doing things, and then you know you should be good, and you know you can get way further than what you get, that's when you're kicking yourself. Do you know what I mean? But it's just keeping dedicated and keeping focused and trying to keep on the right path and kick. And the most important is having a good team and good people around you, because, like you said, there's only sort of selection who make it the big money and who can save it. Do you know what I mean? But you can get £50 million, but if you can't save it or you can't invest it in the right place or look after it, it's pointless having none. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's important when you get your money, you invest it well and you keep it, and you have good people around you, and to make sure you're doing it right. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And obviously, with any, with the fighting game in whatever discipline that you're in, whether it be boxing or MMA or whatever it is, there's always the business side. And some fighters, when they get into a certain level of the business side of boxing, they're kind of a little bit disheartened because there's so much more that goes into it than just boxing. For
Oh yeah,
you, how do you deal with those experiences?
yeah. See, as much as it's like anything, people want to see the big fights happen, but for a fight, if I got a phone call now and said, "Do you want to fight for a world title? You're getting £20." I would say yeah, because I'm a fighter. You know what I mean? You want to fight? It's a dream to win a world title. But unfortunately, we have boxing managers, and it's not unfortunate. It's called having good people around your business people, and to make sure you get the right. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones who's going there getting punched in the brain. We could obviously, so many sad people's died in this sport. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's very crucial. So to make sure we get paid right, and we've got to put food in our family's family's mouths, I should say. Do you know what I mean? So important thing is having good business people around you, good management, and I've got the best in the world with MTK.
Yeah.
Make sure your financial things right, everything's done correctly, and that's the only thing you do. You put your trust in good people, and then if you put your trust in good people, they put your trust in you, and you get your awards at the end.
Obviously, and with the mention of MTK Global in particular, we hear so commonly from the guys that are signed under that team of how well they're looked after and how well things are done. Does it give you a certain kind of relief to know that you can just leave that in the hands of the team at MTK Global?
Yeah, 100%. If MTK ring me up now and I get a phone call and they say, "Look, we've got this fight here, we can get so much for it," or "Do you want this?" I'll have I want so much for this, and they'll go back and I said negotiate. But 95% of the time they ring me and they say, "Look, this is it," and do you think is that right? If they say that it's right, then I take the word for it, because it's not just me. There's a lot higher boxers than me who's MTK got, and I think everyone said the same. We've been all well looked after. They're fair. They tell you how it is. and that's it. And that's all what you want is loyalty and truth. Because as a fighter, if you're putting your business in someone else's hands to look after you, you want to be looked after well. And the same for them. They don't want to put us in big fights and us not training or not doing what they think we can do, and then go in there and make us a bloody short of all of us. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
as long as we all do our part right, and then there's no rows, and everyone just comes home happy with the belts, and we get a few quid too.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, you know, exciting times for you coming down the road and with everything that's happened over the last year or two. But if someone was to say to you that if when you look back at your career, you'd still end up in the same position you are now, would you do anything differently?
No, because I give 100% in every single fight. I train hard. I motivate myself. I don't need motivated. I know on my day, I can beat anyone. Do you know what I mean? I know on anyone's bad day, they can get beat. It's the name of the game. Do you know what I mean? You win and lose, but I believe in the best. But I do everything by the book. I don't cheat myself. I give myself plenty of time to train. There's only one probably thing what I wish I could have done if I could have turned back time was give myself more time for the Ryan Welch fight, because I only give myself 6 weeks. But as I said, you learn by these mistakes. You learn 2-3 fights before we go out boxing LA, and I had to do an 8 round of it, and I had to come in a bit. I come in like 150 pounds 6 week out. Do you know what I mean? It's like I never come in as big, and I was like 12 stone, under 12, just under 12 stone. As a 126 fighter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it was like I was on a crash diet, and trust me, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because even now my weight's spot on. Do you know what I mean? I'm only like 10-2, 10-3. I'm only a stone just overweight. I'm mentally keeping myself training. It's keeping me focused. So if I do something wrong, if I'm eating something, I know I have to go running, or I have to keep myself in check. So things like what I've done I suppose every fighter's done it. Being younger, you've been foolish. You might have got away with it once or twice, but when you get into the elite level, you can't afford to try and slip up once, because 1 inch, you only need that little percentage, and you're getting beat. You know what I mean? So you've got to make sure you're doing everything right. And like I said, sometimes you've learned from things what I've done wrong, but now I'm on the right track. I'm doing well. Like I said, I'm fit. I'm healthy. I've got good people around me. I've got a good team. I'm well looked after, and life couldn't be no better.
Good to hear. Well, speaking of your team, moving forward, are you going to be working with Andy Lee going into the future?
Yeah, I'm working with Andy Lee now. He's going to be my new official coach. Um, obviously Olga I was working with for the last fight, but Andy Lee was helping out a bit in there. But obviously Andy's still in the camp with Tyson. We're all the same, so it'd be good to work with. Andy's got good experience. So obviously we all know been a world champion or in around the
Yeah.
Bronx gym. He's a good coach. He's a good guy. We got on well. We bond well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to working with him. I was speaking to him the other day, because I was on about I want to get back punching. I want to get back fighting now, and I think his wife's having a baby, and I think he's
Yeah.
keeping locked down to August. So I do respect his decision. He wants to keep locked in, and till his wife's had the baby and all that. So once she has the baby and everything's good, we can get back to work. I'll go over to Ireland, or depends what Tyson's doing, where we're going. We'll get working, and then we'll move on as a team. And I'm looking forward to working with him.
Yeah, I imagine so. Does it give you kind of like, you know, obviously you have a confidence in everyone that's in your team. They're in your team for a reason. But with Andy in particular, would it give you that little bit of confidence knowing that he's been in there? He's been at the
Yeah,
highest level as well.
obviously, where he went over to America when he was about 18 and 19.
Yeah.
He went really young, do you know what I mean? Left his family behind. His story alone's a story, do you know what I mean? So even where obviously he'd have to do what I basically I went when I first started off. I moved over to Doncaster. I was training with Jimmy Harrington out there. I lived in Doncaster from like 19 to 22 by myself. Do you know what I mean? Left on me mum and dad, and I used to go back like every third week, and it was very hard. And it got me down. It got me very depressed, because not seeing my mum and dad, not going back and seeing my family, making my own food, and just living by yourself. It was hard. But so that there alone made me strong. But knowing that what Andy's done and how he got to be a champion, it gives you that push and that more. And knowing if now he's been a world champion. I'm training with a world champion with Tyson and that, and being around people who's at the elite level. If I slack a little bit, I feel like I'm doing bad. I'm letting the team down. So I've got to push myself even harder to compete with these guys. So yeah, it's good because in my own mind, me knowing if I don't give 130%, then I'm not doing no good. So it pushes me even more. So yeah, it's good.
Absolutely. That's very interesting what you're saying about moving away from your family so early in your life, and having those experiences, and the kind of the mental mindset or the mental aspect of dedicating yourself to be a boxer. But now in hindsight, when you look back, do you think that that's all attributed to making you the fighter that you are
Yeah,
today?
of course it is. I suppose every fighter's got, they'll have stories to tell what they've done in their life and what made them stronger. Do you know what I mean? But as I said, me moving away from my family, I had to move away because back over the young, I was young and I was having my mates around me and I wasn't training properly and I'm getting, oh come on, let's do this, let's go and have some chocolate cake, and it's easy to get led off. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you're only young and you think, oh, it won't make a difference, it's only a slice of cake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But going away, it definitely had a good trainer there, Jimmy Harton. He looked after me, where he was like a brother to me. But it come to a stage where I was away from my family for like 3 years. I've barely seen them. I'll come back for a week, and if I had a fight, maybe 2 weeks, and then I had to go back away. But it's made me for the person who I am. And I said, all these experiences doing things like that, going going over to Denmark boxing for the European title, going over to America training over there, it all leads up to make sure the person you are. And so if I have to go somewhere and be by myself now, I'm strong enough to do it because I've done it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everyone's got their own kind of stories, but it's definitely made me a lot stronger.
Brilliant. Good to hear. So while we were talking, everyone has an opportunity to put questions into the question box that they might want to ask you. So I'm going to have a look now and see what everyone would like to ask. So Joe Craven, who's a professional Muay Thai fighter, has asked, what's the favorite card that you fought on?
Favorite card, it's got to be obviously the last one, Fury Wilder 2,
Mm-hmm.
because that was something special. But before that, the Quick Frampton one was that was special to me.
Yeah.
Manchester. I love that one. That was like my first big occasion. But definitely that Vegas will never get that would be a place in my heart always, because it was the biggest boxing event in this history in this decade, and just for me to box on it and all the fans and what was there, it was really was special.
Do you think you'll ever get used to that?
No, you never get used to that because I'm like a big baby. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I watch fights back, and I think, wow, do you know what I mean? You think like I've been there and I've done it. Do you know what I mean? But only way I can beat that is me topping the bill. Hopefully, my day will come soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's have a look. Rory Sheeran has asked, Isaac, will we see you on the next Tyson Fury or Billy Joe Saunders undercard soon?
Hopefully, so yeah. It all depends, obviously, what fights I've got lined up myself. Obviously, I've got a European title fight. Depends on what's going on. I can't see, well, Tyson with what's going on at the minute. I can't. Will it be very hard to see them if they fight this year again? But hopefully, if not, I have to top the bill myself, and then don't raise Al into 10 years old.
Yes, absolutely. Right, let's see. We'll take one or two more. Um, okay. Loads of people just saying, love your fight style, love seeing you fight. Lots of questions about how you felt about fighting Ryan Walsh. How's your training and your fitness camp going? And then Kim Bergen has asked, was it hard for you turning pro?
That's a good question. That was it hard for me turning pro? No, because all through my amateur career, I was like a mini Mike Tyson or mini Ricky Hatton. I used to always leave it to the last round. I used to win by a stoppage, or I used to come back from maybe like 7, 8 points down, and then I used to just win. And they used to call me the last round Wonder Boy. I used to always have a pro style. And then and I used to always get like the ABA finals, semi-finals. But then obviously boxing is like 1-2s, fast feet. And I used to have a just angry affection, just going forward. So I know the pro style. I know my family told me the pro style would always suit me better. And I got to the age of 18, and I thought, well, if I'm gonna keep doing this, I might as well try and do it and learn young, learn my way into it, build my way into it, and I did. And as I said, I'm only 26, just say. I feel like I've been around for years, just telling the stories, but I'm well experienced now. I know how to handle the round. So yeah, no, I think you can say I turned a bit too young, but I think I turned right time.
Absolutely. Right, we'll take one more question, and it's from Shane McGuigan. I don't think it's the Shane McGuigan. I think it might be somebody else. But he's asked, who are your inspirations growing up, and have you gotten a chance to meet any of them?
Yeah, the one I've always said from day one was Ricky Hatton.
Personal phase.
It was his fight style, the fight fans, or the fans going over to America. I remember he was staying up for all hours in the morning to watch him. He fought Floyd and like everyone who he fought. I used to stay up late to watch him, and he was my hero. And I can remember, I will run about this. Maybe I was about 10-year-old. His mate come to Lancaster and opened a snooker hall up. And like it was my hero, and I took about 5 boxing gloves down, and like I was going to sign one, but I was only small. I was only like about 4'5". So I got one sign, and they kicked me out. So then I come back in, and like, the man said, "You've already had one." He tried to kick me, and Ricky shouted me over. He said, "Come over, let him. He's only a young kid. Let him have one." And even to this day, like even when I boxed in America, and like Ricky was in my corner, like in Vegas, like Ricky Hatton in my corner, like and like Freddie Roach was like, "Wow, is this actually real or what?"
Yeah.
But again, just looking at people like that, Freddie Roach in your corner, you have Ricky Hatton. It's been a dream come true, and I've been lucky and blessed to have great people and get the platform what I've been on to. So, yeah, Ricky Hatton.
Did you ever tell Ricky about that story about the gloves?
Yeah, I've told him a few times. I've actually had a pint with him now and told him about it. He said, "Well, you shut up now. You're all right."
Brilliant. What a story. Well, listen, Isaac, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you very much for having me on, and thank you everyone for listening. It's been a pleasure.
We look forward to hearing details of your next fight anyway. Hopefully it won't be too soon.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully not. Well, I'll need to pay some bills.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. We all do. We're all waiting for these fights to get back.
No worries. God bless. Keep safe.
Bye, Isaac. Talk
Bye
to you
bye.
later. Bye.